Umesh, we can start live. Yeah.
Office buddies.
It's done, Vinay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Respected Professor D.K. Subramanian, sir, respected my colleagues, and all the invitees who are attending a program on the lecture given by Professor D.K. Subramanian, sir, on the topic online blended learning, a paradigm change in teaching challenges and solutions. I welcome you for this webinar given by Professor D.K. Subramanian, sir. I, Dr. H.V. Ravindra, Principal of PS College of Engineering, Mandya, is hosting under TechU Phase 3. And just to give a brief resume of Professor DKS, whom we call as a DKS Subramanian, sir. Sir started his career in the year 1967 as faculty in Indian Institute of Science. He also worked as visiting faculty in University of Manchester, Manchester Institute of Technology, Manchester during 1974-75, and Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore from 1982 to 1986. In Asian Institute of Technology in the year 1987, and sir retired as professor and dean in the year 2004. During his service career from 1967 to 2004, he has published more than 2,200 publications and 6 monographs. Regarding its activities, still it is continuing. At presently, sir is consulting advisor for Tata Consultancy Service Limited and technology advisor to Indian Bank, state advisor to Mahiti Sindhu program, and member of curriculum committee in IISc Bangalore. He is also president in Foundation for Advancement of Education and Research, where sir has helped lot of activities in our college campus, and also Center for Budget and Policy Studies. Professor D.K. sir, areas of interest are applied science, applied system analysis, operating systems, databases, data mining and education technology, data mining and education technologies, distributed systems, optimization and transaction processing. Above all, sir is also our Board of Governors member, and he is the man behind us as an advisor, being a mentor for our TechU Phase 2 and also the Board of Governors member for TechU Phase 3. Sir, I welcome you for this webinar on online blended learning. So over to you, sir.
Thank you. Umesh, can we have the projection?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please. Okay, we got the projections.
Yeah.
And so the reason why I'm giving a talk, next one, reason why I'm giving a talk is that every one of you know that today we have changed ourselves. We are no more going to a classroom with all the students and then talking to them. COVID has really changed us quite a lot. So our objective today is to discuss the need, the problems, the realities, challenges, and solutions. And the way education will emerge in the coming years. And definitely the education is going to be with online teaching as an essential part. We are not going to go away from that, even if COVID goes away. And what it happens is, this creates a lot of new responsibilities to the faculty and the institution. That's what we will see today. Actually, these responsibilities, these activities, these changes are a survival kit for the faculty. We can't assume that business is as usual. We will do things as before. We may have to change. Next one. Ramesh? The next slide. Okay, as you know that we live in a difficult time, positive approaches by people and society are needed, and we have to look for new ways of living, new ways of dealing with the situation. See, we see that many of us have started working from home. I'm giving this lecture from my home. Okay, TCS says that don't come to the office. It has gone to the reverse. Maximum you can go only once a week. Travel is reduced to almost nil, and shopping is online, and consultation, medicine online. Everything seems to be going online. Even entertainment is moving online. Next. Okay, so to meet these new normals, new developments are taking place. Teaching and learning, as you know, we are moving to online platforms. Many companies and a large number of startups deal with education online. So they provide us support, they provide us platform, and they even run the show. There are thousands who develop and upload contents. I think this is the biggest boon for all of us. Every topic you talk about in your engineering curriculum, you will find contents available either in YouTube or in Khan Academy or in Coursera or in university websites. So many, and the faculty lectures, lecture notes are all available online. So it's a remarkable change which we are seeing. So you can get education anywhere, anytime, any place. And sitting at home, you can do it. So there is no more dependent on only a teacher in the classroom to listen to and get knowledge. So that it changes our entire perspective. So we now, we stopped going to the library. We read most of the latest developments on the websites because the journals come after 2 years. So you get the news very hot from the website. So we don't have to wait now. We get it very hot wherever you are. You are in Timbuktu, you are in Ukraine, you are anywhere, you will be able to read it. And if the news happens somewhere else, developments in MIT or Stanford, you hear that. Next. Okay, books are now in soft copies, as most of you know. So we are also getting into teaching and learning. See, there are 3 types of people I just want to talk about because human mind is very, very difficult to change. Utopians think that we will go back to normal. We'll go back to our old state. Unfortunately, the old ways of living is not going to happen. It has never happened. Because if you see technology, it has always taken us forward. Electricity came. So who is having a hurricane lamp or a kerosene lamp or a kerosene stove today? And the radio came, plastics came, computers, internet, mobiles. All of us know we are all addicted to many of these things. So even you talk to your friend in the next room on mobile. Previously, you walked down to his room or her room. So you see the changes have taken place. We go forward. Thanks. So it is urging us to move forward. So utopians are not the answer for us. There is the other side, dystopians. They think things are going to become very bad, which is also wrong. And there were Luddites who said technology is bad. Don't accept technology. Okay? But we have to accept technology. We have accepted, as I said, we accepted steam engine, we accepted electricity, we accepted communications, we accepted mobile, computers, internet, AI, okay? So you can only slow a bit on the acceptance, but not stop it. That's the thing. True, it creates inequalities, okay? We have to break those things. We have to see how to do that, okay? We are seeing inequalities in online learning because we have challenges. We don't have Wi-Fi, we don't have devices, etc. And connectivity is poor in villages, okay? We need new structures. That's what we are going to talk about today. Next. Okay, people normally resist changes. I just want to tell you one story. Many stories are there, but I don't want to spend time on that. I will tell you one story. See, the banks are forced to move to the core banking. See, in 1974, catch the year, 1974, there was a core banking in Manchester when I was there. I never went to the branch where I opened the account. I could draw money from any branch. Okay, 1987, I was in Thailand. And again, the story is the same. They had core banking. India never had core banking. India lagged behind in technology in that respect. After 2000, the Reserve Bank put a lot of pressure, told the banks to keep on changing. So our banks changed. They went in. I think the complaint was connectivity. They said connectivity is poor. So everybody said, we need a connectivity and we don't get it. So we really improved the connectivity. That's the interesting thing. That's what I'm saying. There is a small island in Lakshadweep to which even the boats go once a week. But we were able to do connection with VSAT. And the Himalayan valleys are very deep. And VSAT does connectivity, satellite connectivity doesn't reach there. So we have to devise a way. We connected it through at the ridge. We kept the VSAT at the ridge and then run the cable down. Okay. So we have done all this. Today the story is there are 100,000 branches of all banks. They are all interlinked and connected. So that's a very major achievement, which and the Indians don't really appreciate that. So you see that changes are possible. Acceptance is possible. The second story I'm going to tell you is Mahiti Sindhu. This happened in the 80s. In Mandya also we had this. What is Mahiti Sindhu? It was started by S.M. Krishna as the chief minister. So we decided to computerize not one school or two schools, 1,000 schools. Okay, and we did that due diligence. We planned detail, including power supply, buildings, connectivity, telephone connectivity, everything we did. And the children were so happy. It so happened that the school strength has increased phenomenally. Attendance went to close to 100% in all these schools. Pass percentages in SSLC was remarkable. First year, the pass percentage was 50%. Second year, 57%. Third year, 62%. Fourth year, 67%. And 70%, and so on. Okay, so you see that the children started accepting it so fast in 1984, 85. Okay, and if you see, music teaching is online for several years with Skype. Many of the students are in the US, the teachers are in India. So it is going online, and there are now thousands of online schools in US, UK, and Europe. They are running successfully. Many students have stopped going to schools. These are, I think, examples for us to accept it. We can adopt, we can absorb, we have the capability, we have the competence. Okay, next one. But the next question people ask is, can education be completely online? Well, there are a number of opinions on that. Some people say yes, some people say no. My feeling for engineering education for at least next 5-6 years to come, it will be blended and flipped. Okay, blended means it's a combination of online learning and also experimentation, group discussions, some of which we will see later. Okay, so it's true that today I think students are not able to go to the labs. Tomorrow they will be able to do that with vaccine. And project work, definitely, I think if you say group project work, they can't do totally online. They also need to interact. They also need to come around and then talk to people. Next one. So what are the advantages? Why online? What are the advantages? The first thing is, it is not only the fact that students are not able to come to the college, so you have online learning. No. I think we can read at your pace. You put your contents, the students read it, then ask you questions. And at any time you can read, not necessarily at the fixed time for the class. You miss it, you miss the lectures. Okay? So you can reach also the best teachers for a course. So you get trained by them. So the option, the choice for the students is very high. They can get it from you, they can get it from others. So you now run a supplementary plan, okay? Getting some lectures from outside, some lectures inside, getting content from outside and so on. So you also need to be, faculty need to be flexible in that approach, okay? So you have to become, the new role is you have to become a mentor to the student. He has to find the best contents and best teachers, best lectures, okay? You will find that in a year or two, robots will assist people in their learning, okay? So we have to be very careful. We see where we are going. Are we going to become redundant? We have to ask that. The next thing is true, computers improve efficiency and they provide a good and efficient management. So you know who is moving forward, who is not moving, who needs attention. You can get a lot of these things. Cost of travel, infrastructure, cost of living, everything comes down. But it will affect negative. It will affect collaborative learning. So we need to take care of building friendships, relationships, social interactions, and lab work. Keep that in mind. You just don't go full on online. Next. Okay, so what are the changes in the focus of education? The first change is happening is, this is something which is happening not only because of online, but because of NEP, the National New Education Policy. Okay, it's happening due to that. Education is no more knowledge transfers. Knowledge is available in plenty on the net. Students can read. I always tell students, learn your Java through Khan Academy. Okay, you can learn Python from the system. Everybody is doing that today. You can use a Blender to learn 3D modeling. Okay, you have lots of tools, lots of facilities available. YouTube has millions of lectures available. So any of us can access, and almost all universities have put their lectures online, which are available, which are on the net itself. You can pick it up and study at your pace. So what is the focus of the teacher now and the education? Is for deep understanding. Students have questions which you need to answer. So instead of lecturing, move to discussions. And you ask them to go for applications and innovations. Education is no more problem solving. I think education is problem generation. Find the gaps. Focus on gray holes. Okay? I think that's important. So since, as I said, we are moving to NEP, we need to plan. Online learning is the first step for the planning. Next. So for some years come, as I said, it will be a mixed mode. Physical mode of education will exist, but major part going online, okay? Hostels will become visiting places. So you have things like how much in online mode, how much in physical mode. Each institution should decide. I hope university does not come with a mandatory guideline for this, okay? And this is experimental time. You have to experiment education. We have to be part of it, and let not AICT and universities thrust on us some fixed numbers. Next. We need to innovate. Education is going through experiments and changes. You don't innovate not only on technology, innovate not only on engineering, innovate on education itself, okay? And this is happening in school teaching. We have been seeing it quite a bit. We are very slow, so we need to move forward. The most important thing is we have to change our mindset. We think, many of the faculty in engineering colleges think software is free. It's no more free. And they think we can build. Answer is no. Chalk and talk is the best. Most users of computers This is a very unfortunate statement I'm making. Most of us are not digital savvy. So most users are trivial. So we need to, move up. That's the most important thing we have to do. The next. So as I said, this is going to be a flexible mode of education, and flexibility is another key point in NAP. So flexibility is, one thing is clear, there is no one size fits all. Each institution experiments, each student should experiment. We should force them. Okay, the student can learn at his own. Even the concept of a semester will become flexible. Okay, for a student, 8 months can be a semester. Another student, 6 months can be a semester. Immediately, you're going to ask me, how do I conduct exams? So I'll come back to that when we talk of evaluation later. Okay, so definitely, I think that some of these things are going to give us difficulties, which we have to see. See, the reality today is many international schools build all-around development. But most of the good schools in India are rote learning and building knowledge. Leaders come from international schools. I'll give you one simple example for that. When a student joins Oxford or Cambridge, all of us know that Oxford and Cambridge produces large number of Nobel laureates. Most of the administrators, most of the leaders come from these two universities. There are several universities in UK, but these two universities have produced the leaders. Why? I think we should ask this question. The reason is very simple. As soon as a student joins, he's not told, like what we do, these are the first semester, these are the courses, go and sit in the classroom and attend. Maybe 1 week common induction program. There, the induction program is individual and it is done by a faculty. Each student is assigned to a faculty and he starts discussing with the faculty. The faculty tries to find out his interests, his capabilities, his capacities, and so on, and then tries to ask him to read up a lot of things. Then next he quizzes him on those topics he had read, and then he says, okay, you go and attend these seminars. A couple of lectures he is asked to attend. It can be in different subjects. It can even be on philosophy. Okay, then at the end of the first semester, the student is now ready to register for courses. He has got a direction, and that he got also an opportunity to self-learn, independently assess himself. So that is what creates leadership, and that's what we have to really look at. Okay, so our focus should be all-around development, and it definitely needs physical presence. Teaching in classrooms will go away, but teaching will move towards interactions. Okay, next. So what are the potentials? We have infrastructure available. We have computers, we have internet, we have colleges got Wi-Fi and so on. Okay, and there are thousands of online courses available. We can even ask our students to take them. We have Coursera running for more than 20 years. EDX is also running for 15, 20 years. Udacity has got much more flexibility than Coursera and EDX. And NPTEL is known to all of you. The IITs are doing it with several universities also part of that. Okay, the students can access lectures. Lectures are available at any point in time. You don't have to really wait for a lecturer to give a talk and then capture it. That is what TV will do, but not the computer-based system. Computer-based system lectures are available anytime you pick it up from there, okay? And from anyone. Graphical explanation is phenomenal. You get a phenomenal visualization, which is not possible in the regular class. You can't draw diagrams, etc. You can't get a 3D. The whole lot changes the perception of, you can see an IC engine working. You can get a cut section. You can see the whole thing happening there. The movements you can see, okay, which is phenomenal. So there are millions of resources available for students. So our job is to pick the right ones to give it to our students. So it is definitely possible to conduct a lot of lectures online, but definitely, it's, as I said, repeat, blended is useful and better. Start with interactions and understanding. Next. What are the challenges? I think you know this. You have conducted a survey, you have come with some of these problems. Actually, I get these problems only from you, and then I got collected most of them from others. First thing is the students' houses, even faculty houses, internet connectivity is poor, and internet is not rugged, it goes off. Even in my case, it goes off. Okay. And second is good devices are not available with students. They need a good computer or a tablet or at least a smartphone. I don't recommend smartphone. A good tablet or a laptop is ideal. And the cost differentials are not very high. Okay. That is another. Then the culture of the institution has to change. Institution never bothered about digital. So they need to look at infrastructure and maintenance, and they need to put separate managers to handle that. Okay, that you have to create a help desk for students, just like most of the service industries do. So there is a paradigm shift between chalk and talk in the classroom and online. Online is not transfer of whatever you are doing in chalk and talk. So you need a lot of preparations, etc. Okay, there are difficulties to know what's happening. So you don't know. You can see the students in the classroom. Here you can't see them. So are they there? Are they not there? Are they observing? Are they not observing? Is it reaching to them? Your voice is reaching to them. Your voice is breaking. A lot of these questions. So robust network is a problem everywhere. Then digital savviness. So which tools to use, how to use it. Today we had a problem of trying to fit this thing into my Zoom. It was not working. Okay. So browsing and Googling has to pick up. It is something I think students should spend 10% of their time on this. That's something very important. Language understanding was one of the problems in Mandya, and we need to buck it up. We need to provide more. We have the English classes there, so we need to concentrate on that. How do you do that? Next. Okay. The first biggest problem is mindset. We have lived with a classroom for 50 years, 40 years, 30 years, etc. Okay. Why should I change? Is a question you ask. Okay. So how do I do the change? I'm comfortable with the classroom teaching. So once the COVID goes, I will go back to my old story. Don't ask me to do a new story. Okay. So that is the biggest problem we have got. But we will be left behind. Survival is going to be a major aspect. Once online comes in and your new education policy kicks in, you will find most of us will become obsolete. Technology is exploding. So it is not, we can't say this. We have to accept changes. So let us see what Darwin said. Next. Darwin says that two things he says are important. Survival, he says, it is not the most intelligent people who survive. It is not the strongest which survives. It is the one which can adapt to change his survival. It's something very, very important for us today. Two is, he says that in the long history of humankind, those who learn to collaborate and improvise effectively have prevailed. So please do that, both of them, okay? We need collaboration and learning as well, and group work. So that is where we need physical presence, physical grouping. Next. The future workplace, Andy Grove says, the future workplace is simple. It's going to be tougher. Okay? If you don't do it, somebody else will do it. So it leads to a less kind, less gentle, less predictable workplace. He said this about 10 years, 15 years back. No COVID at that time, okay? And many of you, I don't know whether you know who is Andy Grove. He's the one who developed the Intel machines, 4000 series to 8085 to 8086, 286, 386, up to Pentium he was there in Intel. He started Intel with others. The next one. Okay, what are the requirements we need? First thing is behavior adaptation. Okay, have open mind, accept changes. We cannot fight changes. Do not have blind belief. Many academics have rigid mindset and beliefs. Let's try to move away from that. Two, create a questioning mind in you and your students. Why something is happening, what is it, how? Try to understand. Post class now, teaching, instead of explanation, post questions. Each course, you identify 30, 40, 50 questions, which means each lecture of 5 questions should be there. So make the students find solutions. So that will be the self-learning part. Okay, you go into depth in analysis and study impacts and discuss with the students. It's more of discussions. Okay, many views will emerge and the students will come with a consensus. Next. Okay, I just want to quote Saranvi. He's very, very important for you because he gave you the water and the irrigation and the sugar cane to grow Mandya. Okay, and he also designed Mandya city. Okay, so he says what does not kill a person? It's worry, irregularity, and uncertainty that kill. So better get rid of worry, irregularity, uncertainty. Say that, yes, I will go for online class. He also talks about what characteristics we should avoid or remove to be happy. He says poverty is curable. Ignorance, dependence, inefficiency, laziness, want of the spirit of enterprise are the real causes of the poverty. Don't you agree? All this is what will be a focus for our education. Okay. And he says energy is essential, and then he says do yoga. Next. Okay, he introduced a lot of innovations. In 1935, he set up Bhadravati Iron and Steel Plant. He did not use coking coal, which has to come from Jharia, 2,500 kilometers away. He used charcoal, and he started making charcoal in Bhadravati, and he assigned 10,000 hectares for that purpose. And Tipagonarli Reservoir is the first major water supply to Bangalore city. In 1937, it breached. 36, it was constructed. 37, it breached. He devised a method to repair it without emptying the water, because many engineers said we should empty water. He said that is criminal, so he did that. So he, even in 30s, he talked of innovation and he talked of ecology. So we need to follow him. Next. So I just have quickly, let me run through the few slides on learning. Is learning done in a classroom? The answer is no. Is learning done in the school also? If you ask, the answer is no. Okay, you have to learn from anybody. Rigveda says, learn from wherever you are, whomsoever gives you the information, and then analyze it, and then find the truth in it and accept it. Okay, and second thing is you learn from the time of birth to death, not just in the classrooms. Okay, and there are several ways of learning. Let us look at that. The first learning the child starts is visual learning, observations, analysis, the feel, the speech, and things of that kind. There are many visual learners are creative people like painters, photographers, architects, and so on. And most of us understand difficult concepts through diagrams and videos. So we have to really look at that aspect. Next, the oral learning, which is learning through sound and music. And then that's where the language comes in. Okay, so you pick up the language and then you start learning from people, lecturers, gurus, parents, etc. You have an infinite opening comes out there. You are propelled by teachers, parents, and others, and you create a habit. Next. Third is that's where I think we come in to some extent, logical and social learning. Logical learning means you try to do analytical learning, mathematical thinking, and reasoning, questioning, etc. comes into the picture. Social learning is when you meet and converse people. See, people join jobs, and their major learning is social learning and observational learning. Okay, there may not be books to learn what's happening in the company. Okay, many people fail in their jobs because they can't read their bosses and their colleagues. Next. Formal learning. I think this is what we do. Formal learning in classroom, and that also can be done outside. So this is something we know. And but what do? You should tell the students should learn to learn, not just learn. They have to get reasoning skills that remain with them their rest of lives. Physics allows you to observe and rationalize the world, but integrate that observations into models and models into theories and laws. Okay, that can be used for predictions. That's where your research comes in. Okay, so you have to make the students learn to learn. That's important. Next. Solitary learning, learn by yourself, which already you people have been experimenting this self-study, self-learning kind of things. Students can learn from many university websites and faculty pages, books, and Googling, okay? And abstract what they have learned. They learn a lot of other things along with knowledge in this process. Okay, confidence gets built up. They can write well. So a lot of these things happen. Next. Group learning, we have talked about. Students have to do that through discussions, question answer sessions, through project works, etc. Project-based learning is another important factor in NEP. Next. So this is what I said, you can learn from anywhere, but analyze and find the truth and then accept it, not otherwise. Next. Okay, we need a lot of improvements. As I said, first step I want is ask series of questions and discussions instead of just explaining things as in the book. Okay, encourage reading by students. They can ask them to Google, read, understand, abstract. Okay, encourage group work and collaboration, encourage analysis, encourage experimentation instead of routine lab work, encourage writing reports, encourage good soft skills, encourage reading even general books on technology, sociology, biography, etc. Next one. As I said, I have said about mindset change. I think I will skip this. We can go to the next one. Online learning is not distance education or MOOCs. So it has to be interaction between teachers and students. Beyond lectures, beyond text, and second focus should be to know the problems, difficulties, doubts faced by students because you don't see them. We have to solve them. So feedback system is something extremely important there. Okay, next. So there are online learning, unfortunately, is not uniform. Connections get missed. So the content should be available to the students at any time. Peer pressure is not there. Sitting at home, you may not be very regular. Okay, habit to attend lectures regularly is difficult. Group learning is difficult. Library access is not there. So Googling has to be learned. There are serious infrastructure issues: Wi-Fi, network, servers, access, laptops, etc. Okay, and also digital literacy. So these are all some of the challenges. But for the teacher, communication is important in online. Normal class, you can see the students don't understand. You try to rework on that, explain something further. Here, you won't be able to do that. Online interaction is not there. So clarity and precision is important, okay? Number one. Number two, consistency. You can't say one thing today, exactly opposite tomorrow, okay? Look, check for consistency in your statements. Conversational approach is desirable. So open the chat box, do a lot of chats with them on the chat box, ask questions, use simple sentences, repetition, slow and steady speech, use videos. Now you can always run videos from YouTube and other places. It's not necessary you have to talk. Use a lot of media and no monotonous tones. Next. We need to encourage thinking. As I said, ask them questions, 20, 30 questions tough questions, 20, 30 medium level questions for each course, and look for answers. You will get multiple answers. You will be surprised. There is no single answer. Okay. You can even explain partly and leave it, and they will come back with answers. So you can ask them to write critiques. Okay, it makes them think. Next. The role of teachers, as I told you, is shifting. Okay, you need to do preparation to delivery a lot of changes. The first thing I would like you to do is, okay, advanced planning. You create groups. First thing is you create a Google group, which is very easy to develop, which build and give access to all the students. Then all questions, answers, problems, explanations, everything can be put there, and even contents can be put there. Students will interact quite a lot. Okay. The second is, in the case of students, our individual interaction is missing. So can I have a way by which we can have, in a class of 60, can I have 5 groups or 8 groups or 10 groups? And each group with a coordinator who can explain and clear doubts, talk to the students and see what has gone wrong, what is right, and what kind of questions do they have. And he can also post it to you on the Google group. So it becomes easy for you to keep in touch with 5 or 6 people instead of trying to reach out to the 50. Okay, and these can become the leaders. Next. So it shifts from teaching to mentoring, guiding, assessing the students' progress. So you need to change your approaches. As I have been saying, the next is examination focus will get reduced. Assessment has to be done daily. At the end of the class, you ask the students, what have you learned? Okay, ask him to write half a page and then assess that. And then give questions, give problems, give quizzes, give critiques, ask them to write a term papers. A lot of things we need to do and do that. So we can minimize the effect of examination over the period of time. Next, that's what NEP wants. So what are the various steps that teachers should have? Next, we'll go to the next one. So we have to go beyond the textbooks. It's very unfortunate. That's a first requirement. You have to look beyond the textbook first. We look for all the resources on the website. You look at, there are a lot of faculty teaching the same course around the world. Look at their lecture notes. What are they teaching? What is their PPT, which is all available on the web. So can I improve on that? So first thing is go beyond textbooks. Textbooks are no more Bibles. Look beyond blackboard and classroom. That's gone. Okay? And go beyond lecturing and initiate discussions. So these are 3 important, I would say, axioms for us. Okay? Go beyond textbooks, look beyond the blackboard, go beyond lecturing and initiate discussions, and go for flipped class approach, where the contents are available, students read to the class and come to your online lecture. Okay, so that's the thing. So let us see the steps needed to be taken up by the faculty and the institution. Next. So first step is to train. Almost all the faculty may not be digitally savvy. Some may be digitally savvy, many of them won't be. And you may be using multiple tools, multiple platforms. So we have to train all the faculty and all the students, because the entire activity is dependent on laptops, let us say. So how do you access a laptop? How do you use it? How do you turn it on? How do you go to a page? How do you open the file? So all these questions do come. So that is the first step. So the second one is the question is the institution should conduct training programs for teachers and students. Not just theory. No theory needs to be taught. Don't say how a computer works. Say how do you use it for doing online learning and online teaching. So what are the various steps? We call this, when we did this core banking for the banks, we call this a job card. So we prepared job card And if you get a trouble, you can look at the job card and you can keep it by the side. You look at it and then you can rectify it immediately. Okay. So you have to become comfortable and to use the computers. And then the faculty should help in creating good servers, platform, maintenance team, training lab staff on the use of this. Their job becomes different. And you need to create, institution has to create a high bandwidth. Okay. And most importantly, something which the institutions have not done so far is create a help desk for the students. I would say it should be 24/7, but at least initially it can be 8 to 10 hours a day in the daytime. Okay. So create, number one. Number two is create online feedback system. That is the second one. So the feedbacks come, you know how you create a feedback questionnaire, you know how it is happening. Even the principal, the HOD, everybody can see and discuss weekly. You can discuss the whole thing and see if there are problems, how to resolve it. Don't wait for the final results. And third is online assessment system. That's something which is different. Okay. So we need to address all this and train people. Next. Then plan. So there is no question of waiting for time. You please plan. Okay, you have to do pre-planning. It is essential. How do you run the lectures? Where are the materials available? How do I have the PPTs available with me? How do I send it in advance? How to get feedbacks? How do I do assessments? You have a detailed assessment plan. I always do it even when I was not doing online teaching. Then create a resource material, create a bank of resource materials, not just textbooks, and make it available to the students. Okay, and if they have a question, you have a linked way of getting answers to that. Okay, look at, as I said, look at faculty at the institute. And I told you that set up a Google group for the course with your students. Okay, that becomes a storehouse, that becomes a history, that becomes a record. Okay, it will have lecture materials, problem sheets, assignments, student solutions, student comments, everything. Okay, and as I said, identify student tutors and student coordinators. The two things. I said that create a student groups and each group will have a coordinator who will talk to each other and help out things and then tell you what kind of problems. The student tutor will try to explain things to the students who have not understood and they will help you out in the process. Next. As I said, we have talked about the groups, so we can go to the next one. Next, okay, more actions by teachers. Conduct more tutorials and remedial lectures. Encourage use of YouTube, Khan Academy, and other tools. Cultivate a habit of regular reading of websites of many universities regularly. My feeling is the faculty should read at least half an hour to 40 minutes every day the websites of the universities. And there are at least 100 people teaching the same course which you are teaching elsewhere. So if you see their websites, they will tell you what kind of problems they have faced, how they have solved it. So it improves our knowledge, our horizon becomes very, very broad. Find out who are the best teachers in the world in good universities. Find out what they teach, compare notes. Okay, read a number of general books so that you can talk about impacts. Okay, upload the condenses much before each lecture so the students can learn that. As I said, that is the concept of flip learning. In a flip learning, you ask series of questions and discussions and not lectures. Minimize lecture time and increase time for discussions, problem solving. Okay, next. The next step is prepare. Okay, you have to prepare a lot of things. You have to prepare the course materials, the resource items, the course plan, lecture plan, assessment methodology. Okay, you have to set up the Google group. You have to create maybe a website for yourself. In the college website, you can have pages for you. Okay, and this will improve the college's ranking in NIRF, definitely. Okay, spend more time per course in the first few years, then things will improve. Okay, prepare class notes in advance. At least prepare them at least 1 month in advance, and decide your dates for tests in advance. Make it online tests. So you have been very successful in conducting online exams also. So it should be a great problem for you. Next. So earmark time for discussions, specific times. The college itself can schedule these timings. Okay, allow students to discuss half an hour every week. Okay, they can post their problems. They can give seminars. Okay, we have talked about communications. Send messages, encourage students to send messages. Create questionnaires for feedback. Weekly ones, get responses, analyze and modify your style and your contents. Next. Okay, I think we'll go to the next one. We have said some of those things. Interaction is extremely important. Okay, and it is very high here. Doubts and questions have to be requested for. They won't come. You have to really go after them and get them. Okay, students themselves can respond to the questions. That's where Google Group becomes very attractive. Okay, your student groups and student coordinators is another thing. We have talked about it. Next. So how do you know your students are accessing lectures, reading and understanding of each lecture? That's the crucial point for success of online learning program. At the end of the semester, you say you don't get satisfied. 70% of the students failed. Okay, so it's not a satisfaction. It is a big black mark on us. So better you start doing it from day one and then do an assessment which is continuous weekly. Okay, as I said, I asked the student to do a half a page write-up and after every lecture and submit it. Online submission is possible. And regularity is important. You will first know whether the student attended the class or not, and he found out what is happening, etc. And was there any difficulty for him? Because he should also talk about his difficulties. What did he not understand? What did he understand? What did he not understand? Both aspects should come in the write-up. Okay, have a revision class to deal with this. Problem solving is another thing, assignments and project as a way of doing projects. Assessment should be weekly, leading to continuous assessment. Next, can be simple quizzes. Okay, assessment, I told you, I have already talked about it. Let us leave this, okay? We can even have open book test. Next. And what is the action needed by the college? Set up a good infrastructure, good servers, good bandwidth. Set up a lending unit, giving out tablets on rent to students who cannot afford. Okay, this is something very important. Assess the internet connectivity in places where they live. See where they can go to a nearby place to access lectures and contents, so that offline they can read. Okay, it is not necessary they have to be online. They can read offline and then come online for questions. Many of the online schools, they don't have 8 hours online per day. They have hardly 2 to 3 hours online. The other 4 or 5 hours is devoted for offline learning. Okay, the contents, the lectures are available to the students. So conduct regular training programs on digital savviness. Okay, conduct training for faculty on digital aspects, how to document, how to write, how to get resources, etc. Provide teaching assistance to the students. So you pay them some honorarium for that. Next. Okay, provide good bandwidth to teachers in their residence because they are going to teach from their house. So they need an internet connection. So do regular periodic monitoring of all courses. The institution should set up a group which will do this job very sincerely, very effectively. See that all the students are with you, okay? Take corrective actions. I would say at least once a month, if preferably once in 15 days, you should do this. They should meet, discuss, and then come with corrective answers. 15 days will be better because the semester is hardly 4 months. So it will be 6 to 8 meetings, okay? Have coordinators for different activities. conduct regular faculty meetings to discuss these aspects, just for this purpose. And each department can do that. Restructure the workloads of everybody, because you can't now tell the teacher you teach 4 courses a semester. They need to put in extra time. So you have to look at the workload carefully on that point. Next. As I said, collaborative learning is very important. Students live far away, so they can go to a nearby place and then they can start accessing and then learning with their friends. So definitely there should be a small city nearby or a bigger village nearby where the internet will be much better. And we have fintech institutions in every small place. We have lakhs of people across the country working with that. And we can, I have been requesting some of the companies to see that whether they can do some service here. So students can go and download, and they can even go and listen to a lecture in the evening. Say, you can say 5 to 6 or 4 to 6. You say you want to run lectures, they can even broadcast it at Mandya, all the many taluks of Mandya or Mysore. So it's possible. Okay, next. Why not collaborate with other colleges so that you can reduce your lecture load and you can share it with others, okay? This will reduce the teaching load. We can go beyond the colleges. We can even go to college universities outside the country. It is not necessarily within the country. I've seen that. School students discuss with students in other colleges in many other places, anywhere in the world. It was a fantastic experiment. I've seen it's working very well. Next. Okay, what are the students' role? They have to become independent to plan their schedule. Because at the moment, they are not planning their schedule. They are not adjusting it. They just come to the class, attend, and then maximum they read up and then write the exam. They have to do a lot more than that. This needs a training from you. They have to be proactive to tell the quality, talk to their colleagues, correspond with teachers, tell their doubts, browse, Google. All these are important. They have to become habits, and they have to create regular routines. The first thing students are told is create a regular routine. Spend a fixed time to attend offline lectures, spend time for the revision, spend time for browsing the websites, spend time for listening to the online lectures, okay? So a good time management strategy. The college should write up a small booklet to have all these things so the students can learn all these things. So they have to do dry runs and do projects and designs. Next. So I think I have come to the end. My time is also nicely up, okay? So both institutions and faculty need a professional survival kit. Otherwise, many institutions are going to go out of business. Students won't join them. If they join, many schools abroad have gone out of business because people join online schools. So this is something very, very important for all of us. A professional survival kit, a personal survival kit, both are needed. Accept changes, don't fight. Online learning will bring a new model of teaching, new model of learning. And so we need be prepared, and it's a new normal. It's not going to go away. No business as usual. The entire world is moving towards online approaches. Something like 30% of the world is on online. Okay, so we can't fight that. Most of the American universities now are online to a large extent. Couple of classes will be done, as I said, in the blended mode. Okay, good, rugged, reliable platforms are needed. We need Wi-Fi, we need internet connection, we need good servers in the college, we need help desk, we need a lot of things. So, and these are needed even post-COVID. Okay, the responsibility is more for the institution and faculty. Interactive learning needs to be encouraged and implemented. Disadvantaged students need special attention. So please do that. Students can participate in the learning activity in groups. So create groups. Now, instead of a single class, you can have 10 groups or 20 groups in each section. and they interact with each other. Instead of trying to interact with everybody, it does not happen. 60 of them can't interact. Many will be shy. So they can interact in a group of 3 or 4 or 5. So that needs to be addressed. So look at the behavior, look at the individual psychology, and then tailor it. Next. Success needs a different accepting mindset. As things are changing, I will accept it. Okay, that's what is important. People have accepted. The villagers accepted plastics, plastic buckets, plastic drums, everything plastic. And radio was very useful for them because the farmers go out in the early morning. They can take the radio with them and listen to the news about agriculture. So we have to accept it and we have to go. Online education will become an integral part. It misses several components. So let us have a mixed mode, create the percentage, create the flexibility according to your convenience, your requirements, your capabilities, etc. Next. So we have talked about a lot of new models, collaboration between students, setting up a lot of groups and coordinators and tutors, student tutors, etc. So, and we also wanted training and proactive support. We wanted a help desk from the college. So, and we many of the things have been done by the industries today. Okay, and we need to go for Education 4 and new education policy. This will be the first step for that. I think it's over, right? Thank you. Now I'm up for questions. It's over. So
Okay,
I'm
sir.
up for questions. Any questions?
Yeah. Any questions?
Any comments are there? Any questions? I didn't see any.
Yeah. Just waiting for them.
I was looking, some chats will be there. Did it reach your UP institution? Anybody joined from there?
Yes, sir. We have shared the link with them, sir. The YouTube.
Yeah, I know that. I was wondering, did people join? You shared the link, I know. That's one direction. The other direction is what I was looking for. That's the problem with online learning. We need to see both. Can institute appoint faculty who work from outside the institute? I would say that create a concept of adjoint faculty. Create a concept of part-time faculty. Absolutely nothing wrong. See, the regular faculty is not just a teacher. He's not just teaching. His job is to set up the labs. His job is to do research. His job is to handle research students, research projects, consultancies, and so on. So I wouldn't say you disband with all the faculty and get only visiting faculty. But definitely to take care of the extra load, you can definitely get adjoint faculty. And because of the fact that we are on online mode, faculty can teach from anywhere. He can teach from Bombay, he can teach from New York, he can teach from anywhere. So you may get thousands of people willing to teach. So it's going to be a very different complexion. The way I think the college will run will be very different. People can focus more differently. I agree with you. Radhakrishnan Rao says that we are finding problem with hands-on skill in students. See, the hands-on skill cannot be done online. It has to be done now. As I said, start with the training. And then, see, when you do the training, I would suggest online is difficult, but can we do video training? Can we do a lot of hands-on with video? See, first is video, second is simulation, then is real hands-on. So we need to take them step by step. So that should be possible.
Sir, with monotonous teaching activities of the students, teachers, faculty member,
has to go.
Suddenly, if they come out with this 2021 NEP, 21-22 NEP,
2022.
Yeah, 2022. Sir, can we able to cope up with that technology so that we can impart to the students? At least this faculty has to get trained.
You see, you have, I think, this was a question asked in one of the places to me. How long does it take to prepare for NAP? That's the question you are asking me now. Okay, because most of the institutions are in the same boat like you.
Yes, sir.
There is no difference between all the institutions. Okay, as I said, what is really required is a mindset. You decide that from tomorrow onwards, we will form groups. We will have, let us assume, 10 groups. Each group looks at one aspect of NAP. Like creativity, I can list out, actually, I have another set of slides on NAP, which I didn't do it today. I can't do it today, both. So first is, let us say, creativity. How does one do creativity? How do you start? Then how do you keep moving up? So have a 5-year plan for that. NEP doesn't say 2021, everything goes in that. The second one is, I think most important thing is flexibility. How do you ensure flexibility? That's something which is very big, but it's something which needs to be done. Because, choices. How do I give students a lot of choices? Can a student take a couple of mechanical engineering courses, couple of electrical engineering courses, couple of industrial engineering courses, etc., and more of mathematics and physics? Okay, so this whole mindset of a core and my course is core has to go. So that's where the problem comes there. Okay, the next thing is interdisciplinary. The focus on NEP is interdisciplinary. Actually, when I asked me, is it mandatory? It is mandatory. So you need to see, actually I can share with you that set of slides. The interdisciplinary, basically engineering interdisciplinary is not very difficult. You start with materials. We have never done materials, okay, as a course. Unfortunately, we found it difficult and it became abstruse chemistry and abstruse physics, so we left it. Can I list the materials? Can I list the magnetic materials? Can I list I don't want to get into the chemistry of it, physics of it, but at least the capabilities of that. Okay, and a couple of effects on which they work, not just this one. So you see, that is materials is one. Then don't look at energy as thermal energy, energy as electrical energy, energy as mechanical rotational energy, etc., chemical energy, etc. Can I think of energy as a unified program? So a course on energy, then a course on social engineering, and then a course on design. I think we have been talking about that, and you have been trying to introduce that. Course on design, a generic design and a design in the department. Okay, and then sensors and instrumentation. First year, can I introduce sensors? The old instrumentation practices go. From sensors, I can even go up to IoT. Okay, so you recall many of your students are doing project with IoT. So you can start that. Then you have to really talk about impacts of engineering. Why don't we talk about engineering futures, engineering present and futures? Okay, we are talking about cyber physical systems. How do I get into cyber physical? First of all, what is cyber physical systems? How does it work? How do I get in there? And that is what is going to happen to your water supply. That's what is going to happen to your electrical grid. That's what is going to happen for your communications network, your transportation network, and everything. So, and this is happening now. Many universities have changed to that in the US and even Singapore and other places. So we need to address that. Otherwise, we will be very far behind. So my first suggestion is, let's have a set of groups. Let us have at least once in, I don't mind spending time. Once in 15 days, let us discuss. 1 hour in 15 days. Let us discuss, each group spends a few minutes telling us what is the progress, what are their problems. Let us resolve that, get consensus. First key thing is participation. If faculty don't participate, it's not going to be successful. Okay, so the choice, the curriculum, the choice is one thing which is pretty major. Then, as I said, interdisciplinary, which is also another major factor. And the next aspect is the the creativity aspect, which we need to address. And then last is there are several others are there, like design, like project mode of learning. All these aspects we need to do it. See, the single project concept has gone in many engineering colleges, and I can give you examples like BVB Hubli and Madurai Tyagaraja Engineering College. We have got projects every year. BBB Hubli has got 2 courses, social exploration, social engineering and engineering exploration in the first year, which is doing extremely well. Okay, and we have a research component in SIT Tumkur. So we have a lot of examples also to learn, which we can learn. My feeling is, I think as Obama became a president by saying the can-do approach, please follow that. If you are diffident, you are not going to go any high. You will be one of the followers of others. And that will lead to a depletion in NIRF ranking. That's something very disastrous. So one has to do that. That's important. I don't think we have a way out. The government is going to push it. And it is good for everybody. It's not bad. See, we move away from the Macaulayan system of rote learning and vomiting to a way of thinking, to a way of innovation, to a way of reading what I want. Nothing wrong with that. And the effective way of doing it through projects, as Radhakrishna said, that hands-on, to work with hands-on. Umesh is what? Challenges in assessment. See, assessment, the concept of a lot of time, lot of weightage for examination has to go. Somewhere you have to accept that fact. Most of the universities abroad have changed. I will tell you a very simple thing. Many of the schools have gone away from the grading system. They say a student is a beginner, a student is a developer, student is a master. These are all the terms given to a student in a subject, not A, B, C, D, E, etc. And then fail. The fail word is removed from many universities. Okay, so we need to address that. And if you say that we're going to do a weekly assessment through either a quiz or through asking the students to do write-up, students to do some things, you will find definitely the assessment. You yourself will come back and say that you have a better assessment system than the examination. I am not a subscriber for examination. I always call that as a capital punishment. In 5 minutes, you decide whether a student is a pass or a fail. You may sit for 3 hours to write the exam, but you take hardly 5 minutes to evaluate it, or 10 minutes to evaluate it, and decide his life is failure. So we put a stamp on a student, he's a failure. I think we have to really look at this aspect and then change our mindset. Okay, with small families now, we are losing social learning in online mode. I fear children may become more introvert. Very, very important statement, Alexandra. I also feel the same thing. I've been seeing it. I'm not even feeling it. I've been saying it. That is where I have been. If you have seen, I have talked about at least 20 times I have said group learning, group work, project work, collaborative work. I have said it in several places. Working with students from outside the country, talking to them is very essential. Okay, otherwise what you say will be the reality. Even with all that, that will become part of the reality. It's not, we are not going to. Today, in the once upon a time, your culture was you knew everybody in your street. Today, my culture is I don't know who is staying in my next house. Is it not true? So that's our problem today. So we have to, the society has to consciously evolve that. It's not just an institution which can do something here. We can do our best. That's it. If we create that culture, then I think they will follow it up. But that's happening. Any questions? Yeah, Vijay.
Yeah. Any other queries? Okay. Sir, it's been a very informative session. I would say a 360-degree view of online blended learning. I think from my perspective, like we were just focused on delivering the content to the other end.
That will change.
But then, like, you have given us a different perspective on how the students will receive it and how do we evaluate. I would say again, I repeat, 360-degree perspective. I would say, like, I didn't realize that there are so many challenges. We were thinking that we are doing our job, getting the knowledge transferred through the online mode. So something like you have given us a lot of information in which we need to contemplate on how do we go about it. Not only
You
just
have to have a sequence of manuals.
exactly.
It's not going to be, business as usual, leave it to faculty, they do what they want. The college, just like you created a evaluation guideline, grading guideline, the course registration guidelines. Okay, we need to create a set of booklets, small booklets, even the students, what they are expected, like our extra statement, which is very real, introvert thing. Please talk to your, that's where I talked about the group. 5-6 students together, so they interact with each other. So some amount of collaboration, some amount of friendship gets built up. So we need to prepare these books. A small group college should set up. They should identify the task and do it. And you have to do a massive training for the faculty and students, how to become digital savvy. These two are very essential. Then the other things can follow.
Thank you, sir. On behalf of the management, principal, and the TechWip team, the faculty members of the institute, I thank Professor D.K. Subramanian for giving us a wonderful overview on what are the challenges which are related to online blended learning. Definitely, we'll go through your suggestions, sir, and see to it that some of the aspects are addressed by the institute. Thank you very much for your time, sir. Thank you very much for the presentation.
Have confidence first. That's
Thank
the
you.
biggest thing which you have to have. I can do it.
Yeah.
Is what is needed.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.